Hello and welcome to the Trading Post podcast, where we unlock the secrets of business-to-business trade, dive into powerful networking strategies, and share my exciting journey of using a podcast to market my business instead of relying on SEO. I'm your host, Trader Stu. Hello and welcome back to the Trading Post. I'm your host, Trader Stu. This episode is brought to you by the Michigan Renaissance Festival. If you haven't went and checked them out yet, do be sure to do so this fall. Metro Trading Association. I work for them full time, and the whole point of this podcast was to explain trade. And then I thought, you know what? I'll explain a little bit more than that too. So Metro Trading Association, thank you. And networking with kids. That's my own personal. It's me and the Doc Mary from Susie Q's Kids. We run the Networking with Kids first Thursday of the month at the Jungle Java there on Hall Road, Clinton Township. If you're in the area, be sure to stop by. It's from 4 to 6. Bring the kids. It's free. Let them play, hand out business cards, and mingle for a couple hours and bounce. So, all right, let's get into it. All right, real quick. I say real quick. Every time, don't I? It's never real quick. I am a victim of a summer vacation podcast slacking, perhaps, maybe. Basically, you know how hard it is to stay consistent with something when something else comes up. And I am recording this actually on a Wednesday morning and having to submit it on a Wednesday morning because I had some insurance work done on my house, had a huge hailstorm come by, and I had some leaks, and drywall painter guy came by, and if you haven't used, his name is Al, I forgot the name of his company because he didn't give me a business card, because it was through insurance work. I'll be sure to ask him, and I will highly recommend this guy. If you ever need a drywall, if you're in the Metro Detroit area, whatever, drywall, painting, this dude, you can't even see it. I know where it was. I know where the leak is. I know where all the problems were. And let me tell you, you can't even see like even a line or even a bump, nothing. And I had him fix a couple of things in my bedroom and finish up a paint job that my wife tried to attempt in the kitchen. And so while he was out doing insurance work, he stayed longer, and I paid him to do extra, right? Because he's already out, so it just made sense. And it cost me far less because he was already out than it did if I was to have someone just come out and do it. But definitely recommend this guy. If you're interested, if you need drywall and painting work done, hit me up, DM me or whatever, and I'll give you his number. All right, so that being said, creating episodes with kids underfoot and vacations on the calendar, that's where I'm at. I was going to do this podcast in the basement, and with the kids being home, summer break, well, my toddler's always home, but you know what I mean. And then I had to be on for if Al needed me for questions, like, I don't know, for an example, I have a skylight, and one of my first things I did when I got in the house, I broke the skylight blinds. I tried adjusting them up and down. I was like, oh, cool, here's a pole to adjust the blinds. And then I did it, and they fell off the track, and then they just hung there for the last 4 years because they're cathedral ceilings, and I couldn't get up there to fix it. I really didn't care because I wound them up enough to get out of the way, and you just forget about them, you know what I mean? So anyway, he was like, hey, while I'm up here, do you want these gone? I was like, yeah, actually I do. I never even want to close them. I have a skylight. Why would I ever want to close them? That doesn't make any sense. And he's like, well, that's what I thought. So, stuff like that. I had to be kind of on for that. And then, of course, there's planning for camping trips. And then I got sick as a dog. My wife got sick as a dog. And my toddler got sick as a dog. So there went a week or two. And then, just one thing happens after another. And by the time you know it, I was ahead a week on my recordings. And then, all hell broke loose. And, well, here we are, back to being behind again. And so what I really got to do is get 4 weeks ahead, a whole month ideally. And but I like recording like current event stuff, So I don't know, if I was 4 weeks ahead, what would that put me at the end of July already? And I just feel like there's so much in between, but maybe I can't do it like that. Anyway, so let's get into it. I wanted to talk about that. A few talking points and just trying to staying motivated, or just trying not to get behind on what to do with the kids. And I found an article about it all, and I'm going to inject my own personal things that instead of somebody saying that this is what it should be, then I'm going to give you like what's happened with me if you're trying to do a podcast for your business, and and then just go from there. So the summer challenge and why podcasting gets harder. Then you got family time versus work time. The kids are at home. Like I said, the routines are disrupted, and vacations pull you away from your usual workflow. And I want to say, not even vacations, the war. World War III has got me sucked in. You ever seen that movie 1984? And it's just constant, what do they call it? The Oceania and Europa, I think it was, they called it, or in Asia, or Asiatic. Anyway, I thought there was like 3 different like players in the war, and they gave updates every day on who was winning, who was losing, and I think it was all bullcrap, or fabricated from what I remember. And I feel like this is what's going on right now. Everyone's attention is on whatever Trump says, does, and Putin says, does, Zelensky says, does, Kim Jong-un, whatever, says, does, and what was the other one? President Xi of China says, does. And it's exhausting. You got 4 players, and it's just like everyone's trying to follow everything. And then they're going to throw some natural disasters in there and pretend and play like volcanoes never erupted before and earthquakes never happened again. And maybe it really is more frequent, or maybe it's just that the media is focusing more on it, because I thought on average there's like 400 earthquakes around the planet at any given time going on, or something crazy like that. But now they're just like, oh, look, this one was a 4.0 and 6.0 and a 2.5, and earthquakes, or earthquake swarms, now they call them. They got to add a title and label everything to make it, palatable for the media. And the one with the volcano and earthquake, or the volcano in Hawaii erupts all the time. Suddenly it's got world attention, and then, volcanoes in the Pacific, and supposedly on July 5th, there's going to be a big event according to the stars or predictions, or that fortune teller. And yeah, it's just, there are so many different things to look at that I've just reached pure exhaustion, to where I just follow one thing and then that's it. Once that episode's done, I have my coffee and I try and go do something else, and that usually never happens, to be fair. I'm not lying that when I say my garage is unwalkable, and it is what it is. So, all right, I digress. Also, don't forget listener behavior shifts, right? If your downloads and engagement, they dip in the summer and the holiday seasons because people travel and they relax, and they're not maybe going to work back and forth, or they're working from home and they're not catching your podcast to and from work, to and from getting kids from school, or to and from kids soccer, baseball, interject, whatever sports entertainment venue thing that they're doing, right? So people, not only you, but people, your listeners, they're gone too during the summer break when the kids are off, right? And then, of course, I'm struggling with right now is personal motivation, and your temptation to take break. It's real, man, but consistency is key to keeping your audience engaged. So, everything you read is consistency. So, really, if you think about it, once a Tuesday is not that freaking hard, man. But let me tell you what, once you get into it, Tuesdays come up quick. A week flies by, especially when you got the kids. You got, keeping them entertained. Right now we're looking for a playground structure. I'm looking for a guy or a crew, really, that can take down a playground, move it, and then reassemble it. I figure by the time I get the tools, my shoulders can't handle too much work over my head. So there's that limitation from some injuries I got in the military. And then you gotta, either buy or rent a flatbed trailer, a U-Haul, or whatever. And by the time you do all that, you're up to at least probably $1,000. You're gonna do it a few times, or a few days, or whatever. And then you gotta do it, get it assembled. And so I might as well spend the extra whatever, 1 or 2 grand, I don't know, just to have it done for me, man. And it's done. And it's done right. And they know what they're doing. And they're going to do it in a fraction of the time. And I don't got to try and deal with my toddler trying to come over and deal, and deal with him to try and get up on the playground before it's done, or he's mad because I'm not spending time with him. It's a whole thing. So I can luckily afford a little bit more than me doing it myself. Some things are just worth getting done. Just pay for it and be done with it, And I think that a playground structure, when my kids' safety is at hand here, and I don't want any temptations of me taking shortcuts, or not knowing what I'm doing, or how to fasten things, or all that stuff. And there's a lot of parts, and just pay a guy who does it every day. I think he does 2 a week or 2 a month or something like that, this guy I'm talking to. So, there's that. All right, so here's a couple practical tips for staying productive. 1, batch recording. I just went over this. Record multiple episodes in advance before the summer chaos hits. Yeah, easier said than done. So maybe next year, I'll be ahead of the game and do that. But like I said, maybe a week, or I tried a week ahead, and that caught up with me. So I need more of a buffer. So maybe 2 weeks to a month. Okay, so we'll do that. Shorter episodes. Take more focused approaches, and it takes less time to produce them, but you have to keep your content flowing. So what that means is, if you try and aim for half-hour episodes, maybe you do 2 15-minuters or something like that. For me, I try and stick to the 23-minute rule. That seems to be the powerhouse between monetization, listener, and get how long listeners can listen for, and you can put commercials in there, mid rolls and things like that. So I always personally aim for about 23 minutes at least, no more than 27, 30, and keep her at that. But okay, whatever. And then I don't know about this one. Best of replay episodes. You curate highlights or re-air your popular episodes to maintain schedule without extra work. Okay, maybe I can see that more on like a video type podcast on YouTube, but I don't know how well that would go over on a traditional podcast, audio only.
This episode of the Trading Post Podcast is brought to you by the Michigan Renaissance Festival, happening weekends of August 16th through September 28th in Holly, Michigan. Step into the 16th century village of Holly Grove, where you'll find 17 stages packed with musicians, magicians, jugglers, and full contact armor jousting. Explore over 100 artisan booths for unique handcrafted treasures, and enjoy a wide variety of food from classic turkey legs to pub fare and international dishes. Each week features a different theme, like Pirates and Pups, Highland Fling, and Viking Invasion, so there's always something new to experience. Don't miss the new House of Dragons pub, high-flying rides, and the enchanting Mermaid Barbie this year. For tickets and all the details, just tap the Michigan Renaissance Festival link in my Linktree at linktree.com/TraderStew. Join the revelry thanks to the Michigan Renaissance Festival for supporting the Trading Post Podcast.
It says flexible schedule or flex scheduling. Adjust your release schedule if needed, but communicate your changes clearly to your audience. Okay, well, if you guys are listeners on Tuesdays, sorry, I didn't let you know, but here you are a day late. So I should have done it earlier. I don't know. So I guess next week, if I don't do it, another upload, then I got sidetracked again. But managing your kids and work. So create boundaries, set up dedicated workspace and communication, or communicate clear rules with your family. That's easier said than done with a 2-year-old. The 10-year-old gets it. And actually, that comes with the 10-year-old. Engage kids with the process. Involve your older children, in the simple tasks, or explain your work so they understand when you need focus. The 10-year-old does like helping out. He gets excited about podcasting. He wants to learn. He wants to do it one day. So that works for him. Finding quiet time, again, easier said than done with my 2-year-old. We're trying to work on his sleep schedule, but work early in the morning, late at night, or during kids' naps and activities. I have tried all of those, and all of those don't work. Sometimes early in the morning, I'm like, cool, I'm up at 5. I'll knock one out, and then my wife comes down with him, and she's like, hey, can you watch him? He's up early, and I need to take a nap. Okay, I always, yep. And then family comes first, man. late at night. You think you got it? Oh, okay. Then the 2-year-old's up until 11 midnight, sometimes 1. Or during his naps. Well, I'm not home during naps. I'm at work, but there's that. And then plan activities. Have a list of activities ready to keep kids occupied while you work. Again, easier said than done. I try and knock these out. Actually, I get so darn sidetracked so easily that I do these while I'm in my car in the parking lot at work. I tried doing them at parks, but then you got to schedule that or work around that. I tried several other things, even at my desk at work, but then I get sidetracked. Oh, as soon as I open my computer to do a recording, it's a wrap. I get sidetracked with emails and LinkedIn and Alignable and the phone rings and nope, I need a podcast studio is what I need at RV or whatever like that or at work. And that's the first thing I just go do, right? But the car works fine. The audio is here and there, but I'm working on it at the DJI mics. I see one of the guys I follow on YouTube, Prepper News and Canadian Prepper, he records his with the DJI microphone. At least I think he does. He may have other microphones off the camera that you can't see, and he just is sponsored by DJI. I don't know, but he seems to have pretty decent audio, so heck, that's what I'm rolling with. All right, so staying motivated and avoiding burnout. Set realistic goals. Except that you may not be as productive as usual, and aim for progress, not perfection. And you know what? And that's what I'm doing. I just try and keep hitting the ball forward, man, because as soon as you get overzealous with the whole trying to edit and make everything perfect, it's not going to work. You're not going to do it. You're going to get burnout, and you're not going to record anymore. And you're going to be, man, what could have been? And all you had to do was not be such a stupid stickler about trying to over edit every episode, every word, every nuance, every breath intake, every blah, 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 right? So that's what I used to do. And it's exhausting. And then I quit. But then I just got this, like, you get the fire and you're like, man, this is not, that's who I am. I am a YouTuber at the time, a podcaster. I'm something, man. And something's going to click. One day it's going to happen. And one day I'm going to actually build a little revenue off of this. And just stay at it. Just keep kicking the ball forward, man. Or the can or whatever. Take breaks. Regular breaks help both of you and your family stay happy and productive. I don't know. Yeah, take breaks, but I don't have enough of a schedule yet to warrant a break. I spend a lot of time with my family as it is, so I think I'm good there. Celebrate your small wins and reward yourself for every episode completed or milestone reached. Okay, well, I'm not one of those guys that's like everyone gets a trophy. I was at the very beginning of that generation. I'm an 81 baby, so I didn't get too caught up in that. Everyone gets an award. And when they were trying to do that, I felt stupid or whatever. I'm like, I don't deserve that. That guy, Jason, he's a killer, dude. He's the one who needs this. I didn't do anything. I just was out in the field running around picking dandelions or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So leverage your podcast for family entertainment, it says. Podcasts for kids. Introduce your children to podcasts to keep them entertained and give yourself a break. Yeah. The 2-year-old has no time for that. Family listening. Use podcast time as a way to bond and share interests with your kids. I don't know why this has anything to do with your podcast. Maybe it's to like say, hey, daddy's going to go make a podcast real quick and you're going to hear me on the air real soon. So in the meantime, listen to your child bedtime reading podcast, I guess. I don't know. Prepare for vacation. We don't really vacation. We camp on the weekends, but either way, plan ahead, schedule content to release while you're away or let your audience know you'll be back soon. And teasers and trailers. Drop a teaser for the next season or upcoming content to keep your listeners excited. See, I don't go by seasons. I do seasons by category. Category 1 is all about trade, barter, and how it helps business. Season 2 is networking, sales and marketing, ideas, whatever. And then season 3 is the experience of using a podcast for growing your business, which is what you're listening to right now. This is a season 3 podcast. So I try to keep it to 3. Motivation and mindset. Consistency is key. Even if you're not at your best, showing up regularly builds trust and loyalty with your audience. So the only one I notice if they don't upload an episode is my prepper guy. I look because he does current events and news, and I actually look forward to the next thing he says because he's pretty well on track with the Canadian prepper guy. Everything else, I personally don't follow podcasts to like say, oh man, they didn't upload an episode for me to listen to on Wednesday morning. That's not me. I know some people are, but whatever. Model resilience and balance your work and family and set a powerful example for your kids and your listeners. So that kind of, yeah, so I'll use my lawn mowing focus for that. I hate yard work. I'm allergic to grass pollen. The other day I finally broke down and I was like, man, screw it. I'm going to wear, like a baklava, what do they call it? Or balava, and over my nose to keep the pollen out, to filter it. And it worked. I hated it because I ended up having to take it off anyways to weed whack because every time I breathed out, I'd fogged up my safety glasses. So in the long run, it didn't really work, but it did work for the lawnmower. So maybe I'll just do that, but whatever. Let's see what else we got. Remember your why. Reconnect with the reasons you started your podcast. This will fuel your motivation during tough weeks. Well, I mean, I just told you my why, so there's that. Call to action. Sharing your tips encourage your listeners to share their own summer productivity hacks in the summer. In your comments or on social media. It's a good idea. I actually like that. A little social media presence there and how they keep their productivity for doing podcasts on the up and up. Stay connected. Remind listeners to subscribe and check out upcoming episodes, even if the schedule is later. Cool. I like it. I guess you could do this too in the summertime. Wrap up with a quick recap of everything that you went through on your episode. Every episode you create this summer is a win, no matter how small. Keep moving forward and enjoy the journey. Yeah, you know what? I like this. I'll even tell you my sources on where I found this stuff. Podcasting tips for busy parents. How work from home parents can stay productive when kids are at home. How to take a summer break without losing momentum. Take breaks for seasons. 5 strategies to take a break from podcasting without losing listeners. A secret tool to entertain your kids this summer. My origin story. So yeah, I like that. That was productive, I think. I think it was a good idea. Everything makes sense for me. And I'll try and use it. I mean, like I said, keeping your motivation going. It's not about motivation. It's about, is it motivation? I guess if you're so motivated to where you you breathed, ate, slept, podcasting, that's all you could think about, I guess you would automatically stay on topic, right? Or on schedule. But if you can't, or if it's not your number one, so like I use this as a marketing tool, I use this for educational purposes, and I use this for my, I try and be real, because everything on social media or YouTube, podcasting, this is all social media, it's fake. I think it's fake. They're like, look at my perfect life, or look at how easy it is for me to do this. And podcasting isn't that hard if you just do this. It's all bullcrap fake. So unless you have a team that depends on you, which I don't ever really want to get to, I say that and watch me get to like an editor or, someone who does all my social media, which would be awesome one day, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. If I could pay them without having to depend on episodes, though. I don't want to depend on episodes to make paychecks. That sounds like it takes all the fun out of it. And a lot of times you hear these people who get these $1 million offers, these contracts, but they can't talk what they want to talk about. They can't release when they want to release, and they can't interview who they want to interview. And they're like, well, I don't want it then. And I want the money, because that's the whole point of me wanting to get into podcasting, is to do that. So, as they say, once you got all your bills paid, the rest of it, all the money, is just for showing off. And one day, maybe I'll get there and understand that. But, Right now, I'll take the money. So maybe. I don't know. I say that, but we'll see what happens. At any rate, whatever you do, be good at it.
The thoughts and views expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and do not reflect the official policy or position of Metro Trading Association. Although the host is an employee of Metro Trading Association, this podcast is intended to educate entrepreneurs on the benefits of professional trading regardless of their location. Additionally, the host reviews various pieces of camping gear due to the Association of Trade, Barter, and Prepping.